punchline here is we're going to talk about business messages, which is a free and relatively new Google product, but effectively it's a way to deploy your chatbot into search. So that sort of future state that sort of Seth was alluding to is like, when can you put when can we put a bot into Google search results? That's really what this product does. So it's, we'll dive into the details, but if, think of this as a channel. So I'll run through the slides, I'll try and get through reasonably quickly, and then we've got some time for questions, but please do jump in. So I'm Rob, I work in a partnerships role at Google on the business messages product, which is part of our sort of business communications effort, where we're trying to sort of open up channels between consumers and businesses and vice versa to have interactive, conversations. So we're not sort of just providing kind of static information. We're trying to make Google a more conversational product, effectively. And as a sort of backdrop, I think this is sort of obvious, but again, sort of tees off well from where we just left off, that we see consumer expectations becoming increasingly, sort of high, but also more sophisticated. And partly this is just a general trend, we definitely see, years ago, people used to search Google with one word. They wanted like new car or Ford F-150 or something, and now they're searching with whole sentences, whole phrases, best winter tires for the F-150. People are searching using very kind of nuanced language. That's a sort of general backdrop, and certainly we've seen through COVID that this has been accentuated. Like, the world has changed. There are things when do the stores open? What do I have to do? How do I find these products that are out of stock? Like, the world changed and our needs got sort of shaken up and they got raised. And, we see that across products, and we know that when people have a need, they want to do something, they want to find something, they often come to Google. Often it's maybe sort of unthought. You open up your phone, you start typing something, and that leads you to that end result, but often Google's at the head of those user journeys. So when somebody wants something, the ability to tap in and put your bot at that head of that sort of discovery journey is really something that Google thinks it can do at scale. We see billions, I think this number is out of date, it's higher now, but billions of searches every day, and they break down into lots of different buckets. They're not just simple one words. People wanting to buy things, they want to go somewhere, they want to research, they want to find something out, they want to do something, they want to achieve something. All these things, start with Google. They may end up in other places, but those user journeys are things that we can interrupt at scale. And so business messages effectively lets you do that. You can look for those user journeys that are sort of interesting or sort of helpful, and then you can intercept them and put a messaging experience, a bot, some sort of hybrid experience into that user journey. So this is sort of the product on a slide. So maybe we'll sort of pause a little bit sort of longer here, and really sort of two parts of value that we're providing. So on the left is Google search results. So somebody's here searched for this mythical business, Bridgeport Runners, and you can see some information, for this, this is like a retail business, and you can see here that highlighted chat button. So the ability, this is organic search results, free search results. This is the ability for a business to put that chat button onto its search pages. So as well as the directions, as well as the sort of blue links to websites, as well as sort of phone numbers, et cetera, and we'll look at different types of search results. You can now choose when you want to put that chat button there. So you can sort of say, at that point of discovery, we want to move that user journey into a conversational experience. So that's sort of value number one, and I think that's probably sort of obvious. People, I think we all understand Google, we're all consumers. And then sort of secondly, we've built this conversational channel to allow the business and the consumer to engage. So you tap that chat button wherever you are. This works. It's mobile only today, but it works on iPhone, it works on Android. It's free, it doesn't need registration, it doesn't need download, it's built into the device. As you hit that chat button, up opens this conversational surface, and then you as the consumer can engage with the business. And you can ask questions in a sort of text Q&A way, or you can do richer things. You can start shopping, you can change your data plan, you can do all sorts of things that the business might want to engage that user in. And importantly, it's the business side of that conversation is really up to up to the business and typically up to the sort of developer community working for those businesses to facilitate those things. We see probably the best user experiences of some combination of automation. There's some bot there, as the previous panel mentioned, we all want things instantly. We want to know, we don't want to wait for that business to wake up and respond, or wait, 5 minutes for somebody in a contact center to read my question and respond. We want instant access to backend systems. We want to know, what are the best running shoes? Do they have them in my size? Which aisle are they in? How long is it going to take to get there? What sort of trail surface are they right for? You want to sort of delve into that data, and you want to maybe do that through conversational engagement, and that's really what this channel supports. We often find that there will be some things, people have specific questions. I left my purse in the store yesterday. The bot doesn't understand that, so the ability to sort of roll that back to humans is often an important part of a successful deployment for business messages. So that's sort of overview, product in a slide. Hopefully that makes some sense. Sort of starting to break out those user journeys into sort of more components, from that sort of initial discovery. Okay, I want to buy running shoes, through to I bought running shoes. I'm now training for my half marathon. Like, how do we do this? Question from Josh. Sorry if I missed this. Is Dialogflow required? No, not at all. This is a channel, so we provide APIs for you to provide the business side of that conversation, and you can connect what you like. You can connect that to humans typing out responses. You can connect it to a Dialogflow bot. You can connect it to some, any other platform. We have about 400 partners connected to those APIs today, and about 30,000 brands that are live. So, any technology mix you want to use. We've made some sort of easy integrations with Dialogflow, but from a product perspective, we don't care how you build those experiences. So back to the slide. So everything from sort of discovery through to engagement, and let's sort of dive into those things. So different types of search results for different businesses. So if I search for, let's say, if I search for JetBlue, I'm going to see the example on the left. So we call this site links, vertically stacked blue bars. Typically, this is for sort of online businesses like .coms, service businesses, etc. So if you get off your phone today and search for JetBlue, you'll see a chat thing there, and you can chat with JetBlue. The second example is local search, and this is shown in both Google Maps and in search, whether you're coming from Safari or from Chrome or wherever you might be. Brick and mortar businesses, so retail, services businesses, hospitals, hotels, etc. Anything sort of in the real world has different types of search results versus non-local. We can intercept both of those things. And there are we call these visual elements, and there are sort of ongoing set of different visual elements for different businesses that we continue to add this chat capability to, which really gives you just more power to intercept more searches. We will be adding desktop capabilities towards the end of this year, but at the moment we're sort of optimizing the product in mobile. You can also do it in your own channels, so you can kind of separate out that conversational surface versus the entry points. So, for example, if you get to the help pages for Verizon or to Bed Bath & Beyond, these are sort of US examples. Apologies, there are many more kind of globally. You'll see, rather than having a web chat button there, there's a link that will open up business messages. So taking advantages of the asynchronous messaging channel, you can do from your own product, or you can do it from the real world. DirecTV have QR code stickers on set-top boxes. So if your TV service goes down, or you want to change your sports package or whatever it might be, you can just scan that QR code on your set-top box. It drops you straight into a conversation with DirecTV, and you can kind of self-manage from there. It knows who you are, it knows what your technology is, and you don't have to go off and search. You can do it straight from the QR code. So the ability to, you can start to use this product from your own entry points. And on the right, something that is relatively new, but doing the same thing from the dialer app on the phone. So this is Android only, but if you're on an Android device and you start dialing a phone number, say you're trying to dial Walmart, you'll see that chat button next to the call button. So just as the moment you're thinking about calling Walmart, it sort of says, hey, we can also handle this via chat. And then you click that, it opens up that same experiences, and you can engage the bot. Question from Maya. Is this a FedRAMP product? Apologies, I don't know what FedRAMP means. Any restriction on using it for the government? No, this is, There are examples of, the Indian government uses it for COVID supports. There are examples in the US around court systems, other sort of government agencies, some national parks and state parks, etc., using it. So you can use it for different types of entities. So sort of research. So all those different entry points. You tap this, you open up this conversational surface. You can have, like, it's text-based. You can have chat. But we can also do more visual things. So we have this notion of cards. You can have this sort of visual, sort of rectangular elements. They can have photos, text, buttons inside here. You'll see here, this is again a mythical business for a phone company perhaps, and you can look and you can start to sort of browse through these cards. You can show one card or a carousel of cards. So here I could scroll through and see which is the best data plan for me. I can sort of see more details, or I could upgrade. You can push people into a purchase funnel from this selection. And then you can see underneath there sort of connect with the live agent. So that's sort of hybrid. We call the large elements we call cards. Those sort of Lawson shaped buttons we call chips. The ability to have these chips to push people through to different experiences. And then you'll see at the bottom there, users can type messages, but also they can upload a photo. Like, okay, here's a picture of my. Here's my router. I don't, what model have I got? I don't know, but I could send you a picture of it. Like, there are things, or you've got an insurance claim with State Farm. You want to send a picture of your car, or the break-in at your house, whatever it might be. Question from Sean: is it another name for RCS? It's a complex question. No, RCS is a separate product. This is effectively an over-the-top channel, which means you can do it on every phone worldwide. RCS is more of a carrier channel. Question from Scott: can it be used as a front end to an existing chatbot? Exactly, Scott. So think of this just as a channel. You've got your bot. We can give you APIs and you can connect it today. So it's really it's a means to deploy a chatbot. It's not a bot technology itself. And how do you render those cards? There's a pretty well documented developer site for the product with APIs. There's going to be links at the end there, or you can get my email address as well at the end, and we can set you up on the developer site. Purchase, this is, it's interesting to see, we launched this product just under a year ago. We're up to about 30,000 brands. Initially it was very much used for customer care, but it's really kind of exploded into more of these richer journeys, purchasing, sign up, lead gen type use cases. We have OAuth built in to allow authentication of users, and those sort of cards and chips, etc., really help, these richer, higher value user journeys. I think we've talked about this already, but the ability to sort of toggle backwards and forwards between bots and live agents is built into the channel, so you can kind of indicate what's a human, what's a bot. You can see here, if you look, when the bot is chatting to the consumer, you'll see like a little sort of robot head icon, and it's just a generic dish logo, versus when we get connected through to, it says it's Raquel, it doesn't really look like Raquel from the avatar, but you can kind of set the avatar for an agent or for the bot. You can set different names, etc. So you can make that clear to the user when they're talking to humans, when they're talking to bots. You can kind of set expected wait times and such. So it's bots are an important part of the mix because they allow users to dig into backends and see product images and such and get quick results. But we think humans are important as well. And then, perhaps most importantly, this is an asynchronous channel, meaning that it's once the user has started that conversation, they've searched for the business or they've scanned that QR code, whatever it might be, the conversation exists and either party can send a message. So it's not just a sort of, from a business perspective, you sit back and you wait for the consumer and then you respond, and then you wait and you respond like you might do at a voice contact center or in web chat. It's a conversation and you can reach back out. So, back to Bridgepoint runners, I bought my shoes, maybe I get shipping notifications. I get the shoes have shipped, here's the tracking link, and then the shoes get delivered. 3 days later, congratulations, your shoes have been delivered. 2 days later, maybe there's a sort of question here, how do you like your shoes? Are they fitting well? Are you satisfied? And then you can sort of move into tips. Maybe I'm training, maybe I'm doing something else. Like the business can be reaching out to the consumer to engage them and really make this a conversation. And again, obviously that can be a bot, that can be some sort of CRM program that triggers to give people daily tips, weekly tips, etc. So it's it's not just a channel where you're responding to users. This is, it's truly conversational. It's truly asynchronous. That conversation lives for the user. If they throw their phone away, buy a new phone, log in, they're going to see all that conversation history. We take care of that consistency on the user side. Garamo, where can I get more information on smart chips? I'll paste in the link for the dev site when I get to the end. I'll have to drop out the slides to do that. So is it delivering results? I think sort of the most important sort of metrics here are maybe customer satisfaction. We do this to try and sort of delight user. We've got sort of various examples that we can look at where we're driving satisfaction, but also starting to drive engagement, revenue, acquisition, etc. for businesses. And often by moving, many businesses sort of see this as maybe an alternative to web, but also an alternative to voice calls. Like rather than the consumer calling you, they're now kind of engaging through messaging into a bot. And obviously that's often cheaper, more efficient for the business as well. So as well as sort of pushing up CSATs of NPS for the user, there's cost savings on the business side. So lots of partners, sort of about 400 partners connected today. Over 30,000 brands. It started in the US, but it's become very much a global product. It naturalizes to the local language. It's available anywhere. There are no sort of geographical constraints on the product. I know we're sort of running behind time a little bit, so let me sort of accelerate. A few case studies, and these are all on the website as well. You can see Levi's uses it. So if you search for Levi's in the US, you'll see a button. This is very kind of bot sort of heavy bot forwards, so there's a pretty sophisticated bot here. You can use it for both customer care. I want to track an existing order. I want to talk about something I've already bought, but also I can use it to shop. I can say, okay, I want to buy jeans. I want to buy a jacket. I want men's. I want slim fit. I want skinny fit. Here's my waist size. Here's my inside leg size. Here's a carousel then of products that are going to fit me and meet my sort of style requirements. And then I can choose, do I want to go and try those on in a store? And it will sort of say, okay, here's a carousel of nearby Levi's stores that have that product in your size, and I can go and try them on, or I can click through and I can buy them from levis.com and get them shipped to me. So a pretty sophisticated digital agent also rolls back to live human agent customer support. And, they've driven great CSAT, significant more engagement than they get with other channels. Teddy, I don't know what the makeup of the audience here is today. This is a sort of European sort of discount retailer. They've deployed this across thousands of stores across multiple countries in Europe. Again, it's much more of a sort of assistive shopping, conversational commerce type experience, which has really sort of helped drive engagement and driven down sort of usage of live agents in their contact center, which is great for Teddy. And that's it. These are all good experiences. You can search for these on your phone and test them. Dish, US sort of TV, sort of cable ISP company, uses this. They were one of the first to adopt, probably 18 months ago when we were still in pilot. They have more of a sort of human agent. There is a sort of bot that sort of triages conversation and routes people to the human, but often this is a high-touch business and they want to sort of engage sort of human agents, but they've seen decreased use for those things. It's more efficient. Wait times are less for consumers. Handle times are less for agents. So this is really helping drive cost savings and efficiency in the contact centers, while also increasing CSAT. Estafeta is a Mexican business. It's like the sort of UPS, sort of FedEx for Mexico. So it's has retail stores, but is primarily a shipping kind of sort of courier type business. And you can do a variety of things. You can ship a package, you can order materials, you can track a package, etc. And again, you can see here they're using cards. So these cards can be shaped in different ways. You can, the previous ones we saw perhaps are a little bit more sort of square shaped. You can have sort of small, large, different things, presenting menu structures in different, more visual ways. You can see here, this is obviously all provided in Spanish. And they've got 98% containment in their bot. So, different approaches. Dish is probably more lightweight on the bot. Here, very heavy bot containment. It's pretty sophisticated automation that can handle most user needs, which is great. and they get thousands of conversations a day through tapping into Google search. Will the slides be shared? I'm happy to share the slides. I don't know if Stefan will be sharing, but you can contact me afterwards, and my email's on the last slide. And then I think this is the last example, Walmart. They're live on, I think, maybe all US stores. Certainly it's many thousands of US stores. If you search, you'll see that message button. And again, it's interesting. They rushed to deploy this, over a year ago when COVID started, because stores were closed, store hours were closed, shoppers had questions, contact centers were closed. And this was a great way to help shoppers at the beginning of COVID navigate a retail experience, understand what to do, what not to do. And it was very sort of text-based, it was very COVID-based. And then over time, it's grown. Like people, we all got used to shopping. We knew how it worked, we knew how masks worked. And it's really become a true conversational commerce, sort of assistive shopping experience. So you can dive in, you can see, okay, here I'm looking for bananas in wherever it is, Bozeman, and I can see a carousel of products. What matches, what price are they? I could buy them from Walmart.com. I can see what inventory is in store. I can see which aisle they're in. So even while I'm shopping in the store, like Walmart's a tough place to find things. Like, you can walk around looking yourself or looking for somebody to help you, or you can search and it's going to give you information about where. So that's sort of wayfinding in the store using digital channels is kind of fun as well. So I think, hopefully you've got the idea. There's a website there, businessmessages.google will give you, it's a sort of marketing overview, but there's links through there to the developer site where you can register and start deploying your bots. My email is at the bottom there as well. You're welcome to reach out to me, and I can kind of help with questions. I can get you onto the developer site, share slides, etc. And very happy to answer questions. So you can type out questions, or I don't know if we're doing kind of audio questions, whatever makes sense to you, Stefan.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great. I've been looking forward to seeing a product like this for some time now. So I think this is kind of like a must-have for any business. Wouldn't you agree? Going forward, I think this is kind of changes the way businesses and people communicate. Maybe on average.
Yeah, I'm biased. I'm a big fan of the product. I have a lot of investment in the product. So yes, I think the great thing is it taps into natural behavior. Like we're all messaging users. Like we've stopped calling each other up. We send each other messages. Like I think 5 of the 7 most used apps worldwide are messaging apps. Like so that sort of asynchronous, turn by turn, ongoing conversation with other people, the people that we love and care about, is woven into our lives. So this really just provides the capability to do it with businesses, and it taps into Google search as being that place you go to. You open your browser, you start typing a question, or you open Maps and start typing a question, and then that starts this conversation. So it's really sort of it's natural user behavior on the search side. It's natural around messaging. So it's really there is a lift on the business side. Like businesses often aren't used to, okay, how do I engage in a conversational mode? How do I have that over many months with the customer? Like, they need help. Like they need change. They typically need sort of vendors to help build those bots and stuff. So there's a lift there on the business side, but it's natural user behavior, and it's always fun, tapping into natural behavior, I think.
Right. And I think that when most of us engage with the business, we have a question that we want to get answered to.
Yeah.
It's in our own head, it's conversational.
Yeah, and you get answers to that question, and then you think about it for a while, and then you've got another question, and that might be like 10 seconds later, but it might be 10 days later, and that's how these things work. So like having it as sort of that asynchronous conversation is very natural to us as users. So it really helps build that one-to-one.
Got it. So we had a couple of really good questions here. One is from Mathis. He says that it looks like it's mostly aimed at retail businesses. Are there any examples of banks, insurance companies using business?
It's a great question. Like our go-to-market vertical was retail, so we definitely over-skew for retail. We recently launched Geico in the US, one of the big kind of US insurers. So if you search for Geico, you'll see chat, things, and you can kind of engage with them. We probably have about 10 different banks, across the world: Australia, India, US, Europe. We're just about to receive HIPAA certification for the product, which will allow us to have sort of medical use cases. So, there's lots of, people like Safeway today have got lots of vaccine information, but you'd actually be able to start booking vaccine appointments or engaging with your doctor, etc. So yes, it's as we add more features to the product, as we sort of let more people know about the product, honestly, we're definitely sort of moving out of retail into other sectors.
Got it. And then another really good question here is, let me pull it up. It's from Garmin. For SaaS industry, especially for customer service use cases, how is this different than, say, Salesforce's Service Cloud?
So think of this as a channel. Like, think of it like SMS, or think of it like, a website almost. Like, it's a different place to have a conversation, So you could connect Salesforce Service Cloud as a partner. So we have about 400 of these partners connected that are either sort of connecting through to humans or connecting through to bots. So, Salesforce would be one of those potential partners, if that makes sense.
Yes. And then, Rob, are these, let's say I messaged one of these 400 partners. Yeah. Is that chat going to be open indefinitely?
Yeah, no, it's persistent, it's asynchronous, so, and it's tied to your, effectively a hash of your Google IDs. We don't pass any of your information across to the business, but we know it's you. So if you throw your phone into the ocean and go and buy a new phone and log in, you're going to see your message history. We're going to download that for you. So you've got your history of your conversation with Walmart. But equally, next time you message Walmart, they're going to know it's the same person. They may not know who you are, but they'll see it's that consistent user. So it's an ongoing conversation. 2 years later, you've got another question. You'll see that same thread. So it's it's asynchronous.
Got it. I mean, that's kind of very exciting from the point of view that the future of this is that it's business relationships. It's going to be about their relationship with you, the customer.
Yeah, and that's again, that speaks to, I think, and I think us as users can instantly get that. Like, I'm a Walmart shopper. I've got my relationship with Walmart. Like, that makes sense to me. But now Walmart has to sort of catch up with that almost. Like, whereas in a customer care center, obviously you're just you the next call, you get responded, and then you go away again. Mm-hmm. Like, here it's consistent. So the business has to start thinking about that user as being the same user, and then importantly, the business can reach back out. So thinking about it, becomes a marketing channel as well as a customer care channel, if that makes sense. What is, it's 6 months since I bought a pair of Levi's. Does Levi wants to reach back out and sort of tell me about, what's happening in the world of jeans and offer me something different. Monica, I see a question about language. We pass the locale of the device. So the business receives the user sort of language and then can choose to respond in that. From a product UX perspective, like if my phone is set to be in English, it's going to show in English. If it's set to be Vietnamese, it's going to show in Vietnamese. And then it's really up to the business to understand, like, obviously they have to understand Vietnamese and be able to respond accordingly. But the platform localizes and sort of passes that information. And obviously there are Google APIs for translation if people want to sort of automate those things.
Great. So Rob, thank you so much for being part of the conference. I really love what you guys have done with it. Before we go on to Alan, I have one last question.
Yes.
How does this impact SEO?
The easiest answer is it doesn't. Like, we've built this product for to be good for users. Like, users want information and they want to have these conversations, and it's good for businesses. So the reason to deploy the business messages is to engage your users in a delightful way and sort of drive business metrics, sales, etc. Not because it's an SEO, an SEO play. Like, so it's not designed to have any impact on search results listings.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Rob. And if people want to follow up with you, maybe you can share your information in the chat.
I'll put some information in the chat now, and very happy to answer questions offline if people have them.
Perfect. And then also, guys, like, you guys could meet with the speakers directly through Hopin. So next up, we have Alan from Rasa.